Yeah.
So, just to clarify, you said that in 6,500 years' time, according to the standard pattern, we would reach the kind of Armageddon stage. But we believe in this temple that we can halt this natural pattern, or suspend, or delay, or turn it around. I mean, we obviously have at the temple this motto, world peace through inner peace, and this kind of mission. Are we trying to buck a trend that has gone on innumerable times before and really looks hopeless? Or is there actually some degree of hope in what we're doing at this temple?
We can do something to turn it around, or to slow it down through practicing good deeds ourselves, and by encouraging the practice of good deeds throughout the world. But from what I understand it, from our hopes of what can actually be achieved, is that this is not a work of a single lifetime, but if we build up a certain degree of awareness about spiritual values in society, which will stay with people, then once we pick it up next lifetime round, to continue the work from where we've left off, then we hope eventually to bring this cycle to an end. This cycle of deterioration we hope to bring to an end completely. But there's no one saying that that's going to be achieved in a single lifetime. But we hope to continue with this work. But there is a hope that if enough people practice meditation, it causes something like a critical mass, where maybe 1 million people meditating together will suddenly change the attitudes of people who had never considered meditation before, in a way that they become open to this. And as a result of this, there's a sort of turning point where the world will start to swing in a more spiritual direction instead of swinging in a more materialistic direction as it has been. So we have this hope, but I think no one can say for sure just how quickly it can be achieved. But it's like there's this process of entropy going on, which can be slowed if people can understand the process and can change themselves quickly enough. But if not, 6,500 years from now, we have problems awaiting us. Yeah?
The Lord Buddha born in every golden age?
No, not in the Golden Age.
Why?
Because during the Golden Age, people have a lifespan which is very long, over 100,000 years. So this means that if the Lord Buddha were to appear, although everyone would be very happy to see him, but no one would really believe what he had to teach, because they couldn't see suffering. So we have to wait until the people come further down the slope here, until they start to have some experience of suffering, so that when he teaches the way out of suffering, people will want to listen to him. It's like most people, if they don't have a lot of merit, unless they are suffering in some way, they will not see the point of striving to get out of suffering. So Golden Age is not a time when we try to come back. It's too comfy. So we want sort of fairly comfy, a little bit of suffering mixed in, and then we can get the message about life more easily.
Yesterday you were talking about meditation and how
it will take us to see things beyond our world. I just want to know, how do you know that what you see, what you feel is not your imagination and that it's real? Where a lot of us, I mean me for example, I can see that at the moment. So what justify that it's real and not just my own imagination?
What you say is it's a true observation, and in fact I suspect that there are many traditions of meditation where they do fool themselves into thinking that they have seen things which are beyond what the normal mind can know. They sort of kid themselves along that they are learning something. But even with, for example, our meditation, when we start out we imagine something like a crystal ball, and the quality with which we can see it at that stage is not very high. You imagine something and it's like sort of fairly lifeless, not very clear, and it's very hard for you to keep your concentration on it at all. But later on, if your mind becomes more still, the image becomes more stable, it changes in quality, and you can recognize it for yourself. Why? Because the feeling changes as well. It's no longer just, you imagine something, you see just what you imagine, but it becomes something which arises spontaneously. But even this is not yet images which we can trust. Beyond that still, once your mind becomes a lot more still, your mind will come to a point where you can expand and contract objects in your mind at will. You have more control over the object. The object becomes more lifelike. It will give a special feeling as you observe it. So this again is a higher quality of vision than before. But even this has not come to a point where you could trust it as a objective form of knowledge which you have through your meditation. The sort of the way which we measure objectivity in our tradition is that you need to attain a body of enlightenment inside yourself. And it's not with these eyes that you are seeing things anymore, but it's the eyes of the body of enlightenment which you are using to see those objects. And it's only then that the quality of seeing becomes something which is completely different. Our abbot talks about being able to see things at the same time 360 degrees. Being able to see things at the same time in present, future and past. So it's penetrative seeing, it's a different quality of seeing. And you know it for yourself because it's not you physically who are seeing this anymore, but you're using a part of yourself to see it, which is pure. So it's not your eyes, it's not even your mind's eye which you're using anymore. It's not your imagination, but it's using a completely different part of yourself which only becomes available to you as a tool when your mind has stopped completely. So if you're still thinking about what you are seeing, then certainly it's not something which is a reliable vision. But then again, we hear from the Buddhist teaching that the quality of Dhamma, the quality of what is true, is something which has to be known subjectively by the wise. So this means that you must be able to tell for yourself whether it's true or not. What you see must have the quality which also informs you that you're not kidding yourself, but what you're seeing is the reality. So built into how you see is also the ability to discern whether it is true or not. And if it is true, then it does have that quality about it. So you shouldn't need to have to worry about it.
What you are saying is that as long as I believe what I see, then it's true?
No, but you can believe it in the beginning, because it's better to believe it than to have doubts about it, because the doubts is still a hindrance. But normally, for our own peace of mind, as we meditate, we will evaluate our meditation and give it to our meditation teacher. Or if we talk about our meditation experience, we talk about it in front of teacher. We don't just talk about it, to chat about it over lunch or something like that. And by having that contact with a more experienced person, often you know for yourself whether it's true or not just when you say it in front of them. Sometimes it rings true or not. So it's not, each person to their own imaginings, but we do have a calibration which is our own teacher of meditation, who will be able to compare what we've seen with what they know we've seen. Because there are some people who suffer from delusions as a result of their meditation. It can happen, and especially people who like to boast about their meditation attainments tend to suffer more from this, and people who tend to just keep themselves to themselves and to talk about their meditation experience only in front of their teacher. So beware, because people like to boast about what they've seen, tend to always have to find new things to boast about, and that tends to lead your meditation away from what is necessarily true into delusions, where you have to aggrandize yourself with powers and ability to see more than the person sitting next to you. It becomes a sort of trap for people who meditate.